All right, I'm going to call the special called meeting of the Frisco City Council, 6101 Frisco Square Boulevard meeting to order. It is 5:05 p.m. on Monday, August 12, 2013. First item on the agenda is recess into closed session in compliance with Section 551.001 of the Texas Government Code, including Section 551.071. Meeting with the City Attorney regarding a matter in which the duty of the City Attorney under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas conflicts with the Open Meetings Act regarding Item 1. Receive legal advice regarding the proposed Master Development Agreement for facilities and related improvements by and between the City of Frisco, Texas, and Blue Star Stadium Incorporated, Blue Star HQ Incorporated, and Blue Star Frisco LP. And with that, I'll look for a motion to recess in executive session.
Second.
Motion by Bob and second by John. All those in favor, please just vote. We're not doing the buttons tonight.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed 6-0. We're recessed in executive session. And we will be right back, folks. Okay, can I have a motion to reconvene into a regular session?
So moved.
Motion by Bob, second by Jeff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. We're now back in a regular session. As a result of executive session, we do not have any action to take, which will take us right into the regular agenda. Again, I may remind everyone, this is a specially called meeting of the City Council. However, if you do wish to speak on any of the remaining agenda items, if you would fill out one of the blue cards and give it to our City Secretary, am I right? We will call your name up at that time. Appreciate seeing such a big crowd for a weekday meeting. We thank you for being with us, and obviously we've had a little bit of a busy day, and many of you have heard some of the developments, but this is our council meeting to take up those agenda items. Our Community Development Corporation has already met. I believe our Economic Development Corporation has will meet at 5:30, and so this is our council meeting. Our first item on the agenda is agenda item number 3, is consider and act upon a motion consider and act upon the proposed Master Development Agreement for facilities and related improvements by and between the City of Frisco, Texas, and Blue Star Stadium, Inc., Blue Star HQ, Inc., and Blue Star Frisco LP, and the resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the same.
Good morning, gentlemen. Or good afternoon, I think.
Good
morning,
afternoon,
Ron.
Time is a blur these days, isn't it, Ron?
Yes, sir. They are a blur. Thank you for allowing me to come before you this evening and present to you a summary of the Master Development Agreement for a joint venture for a special events and sports facility and a mixed-use development. It's important to note that this is all of those things. It is a sports venue, but also a mixed-use development with some private development associated with it, which you'll see as I describe here. The subject property that we're talking about is the 91 acres. It's 91.645 acres that is located at the northwest corner of the Dallas Parkway and Warren. You'll note there it's outlined in red for the audience that you can see there also on your screen. This particular piece of property has been owned by the Community Development Corporation since December of 2010. That particular piece of property was bought as an investment for future development. The property development here, you'll also note, surrounding the red box, which is the 91 acres, which is the subject of this agreement, is additional property that is owned by the Rudman as well as Univest. And this is part of what has been known as the Frisco Station, a development that we've heard about in the press as well. It's approximately 250 acres. The exciting thing here is that bringing these together really provides a unique and experienced development company with Blue Star to partner with those other landowners to be able to bring a very unique development to this area. We are very confident and feel comfortable that it'll actually all begin to blend together, and we'll have a very nice development on that northwest corner. In addition to the property that will be set aside for the stadium and the headquarters for the Dallas Cowboys, all of that approximately 25 acres. In addition to that, the Blue Star will purchase the remaining acre in that red box, and they will be using that for a mixed-use tract for private development. In addition to that, we also plan on, within that area, to institute a tax increment reinvestment zone. For us, that will be tax increment reinvestment zone number 5. It will be our 5th. And we'll be able to use approximately $20 million in funds to build structured parking on those particular mixed-use tract. Please remember that we've had a policy in the past where we've done similar deals on similar property where we want to incentivize structured parking so we get more density, create more value, and it creates just a better development overall. The project financing looks as is outlined here. The city will participate in the stadium and parking at $30 million. The source for those funds will be the existing tax increment reinvestment zone number 1. The boundaries for that zone are generally around where the mall is, plus, the Target Center and all of that. That's kind of the revenue-generating portion of the TERS. That's in existence and currently generating funds that will be used for this to help pay the debt service on this $30 million. The Frisco Independent School District, who is a wonderful partner with us and has been for many years in the TERS number 1, they will also be participating in the stadium and parking at $30 million, and the TERS will be their portion of the TERS will be their source for the principal and interest payments on the debt service. The Frisco Community Development Corporation, which met earlier this evening, they will also participate in the stadium and parking at $25 million. They will use to pay their debt service the current year sales tax revenues, and though they should be able to cover that with their current revenues. The Frisco Economic Development Corporation, which is meeting right now and making these same considerations, will also put $5 million into infrastructure improvements. By that we mean road, water, sewer, streets, etc., for a total of $90 million for the stadium, parking, and the infrastructure surrounding that. In terms of the Frisco Economic Development Corporation, they will also participate in the Cowboys corporate headquarters. This master development agreement will require that their corporate headquarters relocate to this property in Frisco at $25 million. You add those two together for a total of $115 million in terms of the investment for this project. I would like to point out the asterisk at the bottom there on the $115 million. Currently, right now, no increase in property or sales tax rates for the city, CDC, EDC, or FISD is estimated or planned to be able to fund this. Again, these are existing revenue streams with the current sales tax and the current tax increment reinvestment zone. Also, in addition to that, any costs that are above this, so if the corporate office or the stadium or anything that increases above these dollar amounts, those will be the responsibility of the Cowboys to pay those additional costs. This is a very, very short list of the many benefits that we see with regard to this project. The Frisco Independent School District had already planned to build an additional stadium. As you know, with the tremendous growth in the school district, we are going to require an additional football stadium. And in this case, what they're going to do is simply take funds that they had earmarked for a previous outdoor stadium and put those into this project, which for them, they get a little bit more return on their investment because they will actually be able to participate and utilize an indoor facility. Also, in addition to that, they will see a operating savings because the Cowboys will be responsible for the maintenance and operation cost of these facilities. Because if the school district went on their own with a standalone outdoor facility, they would have those maintenance and op costs. In this agreement, the Cowboys will take that on. Also, in this particular case, the district will only pay for event day expenses, so if there's electricity or any particular cost. This is very similar to the agreement that goes on with FC Dallas across the street, and that amount is capped and what those costs will be. But there is no lease or rental cost back to the school district because the city will own this particular facility, and they will be operating it on our behalf, much like FC Dallas operates the stadium across the street. The city will see increases in property tax base, sales tax. Also, with the development of the mixed-use tract, we just hope to see, and we believe that we will see a tremendous amount of increase in value. The city will also see increased events and tourism at the special events and sports facility. In this particular case, we'll see additional hotel rooms, restaurant patronage, and increased sales and retail. All of that said, we feel like that this is a project that will bring additional value to the community. I would like to reiterate that while the Dallas Cowboys are exciting and it's great to have them here in a practice facility, we also need to keep in mind this is much bigger than that. In addition to that, it is also a very large mixed-use development, and Blue Star, that's part of the Cowboys, but Blue Star is a very well-run and does extremely well on development, and having them as a partner in the overall mixed-use development is very important and a vital part of this development agreement. That said, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have for me.
Thank you, Ron. The council, as you noted, this is a consider an act. Do you have any questions or comments?
Ron, can you tell us what the estimated economic impact, the long-range economic impact to the city will be perhaps over the next 25, 30 years?
Actually, sir, we have hired an independent third party to provide that data for you because we wanted somebody to put an independent lens on it. And I would like to ask if she could come forward here in just a second. Why don't you come on up? And she's going to present to you a very short synopsis of the data that she has put together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you for the opportunity to visit with you all this evening. My name is Elizabeth Morris. I'm the Chief Economist at Insight Research Corporation, and I believe you have in front of you a gray notebook. The first 4 or 5 pages include the executive summary of the specific economic, employment, and tax revenue benefits about which you asked. Page 1 of that executive summary summarizes the expected volume of square footage of new office space that is likely to go on that site given the current zoning and density and floor area ratio restrictions of the city of Frisco. It would be about 1.2 million in new office space. About 400,000 square feet of new retail might be expected there under the current concept plan, and about 50,000 square feet of new restaurants, all of which will be adding ad valorem and sales tax revenue to the city. In addition, there are 2 hotel concepts included in this. Page 2 of that executive summary gives you the findings of a 30-year analysis of construction and lease-up given a hypothetical pro forma of how the buildings would proceed toward full development. The economic impact over a 30-year period of time with that amount of space here in Frisco would be $23.4 billion of new money in the economy, which is a ripple effect that would be experienced by the entire region. The employment impact would be jobs in place on site. There would be an additional 4,500 jobs at full development by the year 2026, which is about a 12-year hypothetical build-out. So those job numbers are very important too, and those would all be here in the city of Frisco. The tax revenue impact over the 30 years cumulatively would be $1.2 billion of new revenue as direct and indirect dollars. Now, direct revenue stream is investment grade. That is what the city can use against its capital obligations. Indirect dollars are no less real, but they are not directly paid to the city, so that they're like a ripple effect of new taxes. And you'll note that the state of Texas is a very big partner in this because of not only the ad valorem, but the sales tax revenue stream. So I'm here as a resource. We were engaged to do a cross-check on a revenue forecast that would support TIF 5, and I'm available for questions or comments as you may have them.
So do these budgets include things like hotel visits and people coming to the area, staying here, spending money in hotels, restaurants, sales tax generated from all that, or?
Actually, we took a more conservative approach than that. There will be tourism dollars that will be spent in the regional economy, but we looked only at the yield of the square footage on the site. So there are additional dollars there that would come in from visitor expenditures.
So can I just kind of maybe build on that question real quick? So this economic study, the economic impact of the $23 billion is just for the 91 acres. It doesn't include, to Councilmember Cheney's, I think, point or question, any other economic benefit the city may see outside that 91 acres, nor does it contemplate any of the economic benefit we may see as Frisco Station starts to grow.
That's correct. It's only the 91 acres, only the 66 acres of private development.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I would imagine if we started factoring in those numbers with the number of visitors we expect this project to bring to Frisco, that number would probably be a multiple
higher.
of that.
Yes.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions?
That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate the employment numbers as well. That's very, very encouraging news. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions?
Ron, I had a couple questions. Ron? I had a couple questions. You had mentioned the usage fees for FISD as well as for the city. Based on what I've read, it looks like it'll be a fixed fee based on the number of expected attendance for the events. Is that
Yes,
correct?
correct, sir.
And that being the case, we're looking at a $4,500 fee for 1,500 or more.
That's
right.
correct, sir.
And all ticketed sales will then be retained by the FISD, correct? So they'll have a usage fee, which will be for electricity, other things like that. So it's a fixed fee just to estimate what will be consumed. And then after that, all ticketing will actually go to the FISD. So all the ticketed revenue will go to them as opposed to going to the Dallas Cowboys?
For FISD event
Correct.
ticketed items, yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. Second item I had, I've had several calls in regards to traffic in the area. What's the? I've seen some details in regards to the plan, and I guess the EDC is working on some infrastructure. Will you talk about what's going to be done in that area to relieve some of the potential congestion that might be happening in that area?
Yes, sir. With regard to the traffic, obviously the two biggest impacts will be on, initially anyway, will be on the Dallas Parkway, southbound, and then also on Warren Parkway. And we currently have funded and we have plans that will begin shortly for the expansion to 3 lanes on the Dallas Parkway, so adding a 3rd lane there. And then on Warren Parkway, we currently have the right-of-way in hand to be able to go from a 4-lane divided to a 6-lane. And we'll have to look at the timing on that and signals and that type thing. But all of that is in place and ready whenever we need to be able to move forward with that. Obviously, later, as the overall development builds, the area, the Redmond property and the other, they'll also go out to and hit on Lebanon, and then I'll cross over to John Hickman as well. All of that's been examined, and those will be access points as well.
Thank you. Last question I had was in regards to, again, leveraging utilization. This is expected to be done, if approved by all entities. We're looking at potentially the 2016 season. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's going to be an all-out sprint, and we hope to make that date. And matter of fact, that's what we've obligated to in our agreements.
And we're expecting the FISD to potentially have usage that early as well. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I imagine the FISD will probably go over what they will be utilizing in that, but it looks like a really good deal for them and for our students and for graduations and things like that. So I think it's going to be a real positive impact. So.
Yes, sir. And to your point, with regard to the games, obviously high school football is primarily Thursday and Friday nights. Those are the priorities. The district has the priority in the facility. So therefore, they will be able to use that for those games. And obviously, being an indoor facility, we hope to see some championship games and maybe even other districts utilizing it.
For all our band fans, that's included as well. So some of those band performances.
Yes, sir.
So
We sure hope so.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Ron, I know it was asked in the CDC meeting, and I thought it was appropriate for this audience as well, but can you talk about any operational expenses the city would be expected to incur as part of this deal? Are there any, and if so, could you detail those, and if they're not, can you talk
Yes,
about
sir.
that also?
Well, there's been an estimate that it would take about $1.5 million a year to operate the facility. All of those expenses belong to the Cowboys under the Master Development Agreement. Obviously, again, with regard to utilization of an event, whether it's a school or a city event, if there's some cost, and those are very minimal for that event, then just like within the FC Dallas Stadium and arena, all of those have basically the same type of an agreement. So other than those minimal costs, that would be it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Else? Well,
Yes, sir.
okay. Okay. Well,
Another question, I'd just like to make a few comments, Mayor.
Sure.
First, wanted to congratulate staff on an incredible job. This was a complex deal. I mean, even though council doesn't have a lot of questions tonight, it's a deal we've asked a lot of questions on and been working on for at a full sprint, as it was said, here over the last couple of months to try to pull this together. So, Frisco has become known for public-private partnerships. That's how we built our other facilities. We're well experienced in doing deals like this. It's how we've gotten these great amenities our residents love. Couldn't do it without the talent of staff and George Purefoy and the school district. All these parties coming together, the EDC, the CDC, and then just private companies that want to do business here in Frisco. I think this is going to be just another great asset for this community. My kids are excited. I haven't even been telling them about this deal. When I finally told them, they're like, are we going to get to play our FFL games in the stadium? So it's going to be a tremendous asset for this community. I'm proud to be a part of this project. It checks a lot of other boxes, as you mentioned, Ron, just besides the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys are a great benefit to have them in our community, but this project is going to be the anchor of a mixed-use development that we've been long desiring here in Frisco, to have a real quality mixed-use development where residents can come and spend the day, whether it's entertainment venues and restaurants, and there'll be a lot to do in this area. Businesses that we've been looking to recruit here are wanting to be in that type of environment. So the impact is far-reaching, further beyond the $1.26 billion that was brought up here. I mean, it's going to bring people to spend weeks in Frisco, in my opinion, during training camp and so forth. This is how we built the city. Frisco is, believe it or not, in the top 15 of all cities in sales tax collections. And I couldn't believe this stat when I first hit it. We're in the top 10 in the state of Texas in total assessed value. And we're only halfway developed. That's just an astounding number to me. That's why we're able to keep property taxes so low, is because we generate so much investment through sales tax and tourism. It's just become the standard of success that we've developed here in Frisco. This project's going to continue that. There's certainly big numbers that are put on the sheet, but these are deals we've done before, and they've paid off for the city, and I know this one will as well.
Thank you, Jeff. Anyone else?
I have one comment to build on Jeff's comments, which are really that this is a regional draw as well. I mean, this is a big win for Frisco, but I think we need to reiterate the fact that this is a big win for Collin County. This is a major job creator. It's a major economic development engine. And look, at the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys are the biggest franchise in the world. They're the greatest franchise in the history of sport. And I'm proud to bring America's team here and to welcome the Jones family to Frisco.
Thank you, Scott. Any other comments?
Don't forget about Denton County, too.
All right, folks, this is a consider an act. So I will look for a motion for consider an act upon proposed master development agreement for facilities and related improvements by and between the City of Frisco, Texas, and Blue Star Stadium, Inc., Blue Star HQ, Inc., and Blue Star Frisco LP, and the resolution authorizing the city manager to execute the same.
Move to approve.
Motion by John, second by Bob. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I know everybody wanted to make a motion, so I took the first two I heard there. All those in favor, please say aye. You did that.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion passes 6-0 unanimously. Thank you all. We have two quick other agenda items. Number 4 is consider an act upon approval of the Frisco Economic Development Corporation and the Frisco Community Development Corporation to execute and deliver the master development agreement by and among Blue Star Stadium, Inc., Blue Star HQ, Inc., Blue Star Frisco LP, and the City of Frisco, Texas, Frisco Economic Development Corporation, the Frisco Community Development Corporation, and to take all action necessary to perform the obligations stated in the master development agreement. Does council have any questions, comments?
Just EDC meeting this evening and CDC too, so you should be ready to move forward, sir.
Okay, so both entities have approved this.
Yes, sir. Well, the CDC
is still meeting
going
right now.
through their process.
Thank you,
Yes,
Ron.
sir.
Council, any questions, or I'll look for a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Bob, second by Will. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Item 5, consider an act upon approval of the expenditure of funds by the Frisco Economic Development Corporation and the Frisco Community Development Corporation to perform all obligations required under the Master Development Agreement by and among Blue Star Stadium, Inc., Blue Star HQ, Inc., Blue Star Frisco LP, and the City of Frisco, Texas, the Frisco Economic Development Corporation, the Frisco Community Development Corporation, and to approve the obligations of the Master Development Agreement as a program of each corporation pursuant to the Texas Local Government Code, Section 501.073. I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Will, second by Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Before we adjourn, folks, I do want to add a few comments. I want to thank Jeff and everyone else, John, Scott, Will, Tim, Bob, for the comments and questions. This did go fast tonight, but this is something that has been kept updated to the City Council. You have heard the gratitude of the City Council. I do want to thank the City Council first and foremost for their vision. This is something that is not born overnight. It's born out of long-term strategic thinking about bringing in additional revenue to the city from outside sources to keep our taxes low. They work very hard for you on a regular basis, a lot of meetings, a lot of communication to make sure that we do the right thing for the city of Frisco. So I'm very thankful for the elected officials we have up here, for the time and dedication, time spent away from families, flying in from vacations just to fly back out, just to be here. We have all that sitting up here tonight, so I do want to thank them for their dedication. You already heard the gratitude for our city manager's office, George, Ron, Nell, and Henry, their work on this agreement. I was here at 8 and 9 p.m. at night while they worked on it and on weekends, and while in the overall scheme of things it's been just a few months, it's been hundreds and hundreds of man-hours spent on this, along with our city attorney's office. Scott mentioned the neighboring cities have been very supportive. This region does sink or swim together, and that includes the city of Irving and Arlington, who you all know we're also interested in this. I have had direct communication with both their mayors. We do work as a region. We are competitive, but we do work as a region. Both communities are very thankful for the influence the Cowboys have had on their communities, and it is a positive win for everyone. And we do, like I said, communicate and work well as a region. Of course, we want to thank the Cowboys and all the organizations involved with the Cowboys. They've been very gracious in every term of the word, from providing us information to make our council comfortable with this deal, make sure there is a return. I will restate, the City Council of Frisco has never, that I've known them, to invest in any project that did not have a direct return for the residents of Frisco. And I think that direct return first can be measured in the low taxes we have, but second in the family-friendly environment we've created and the sustainable environment we've created. So I'm very thankful for that. But again, the Cowboys have answered all our questions, been available. They are a quality organization. Now, when I did tour the facility and spoke to Stephen Jones, I was comfortable enough with his handshake and his comments to me that I knew that our city staff and their organization would work out a beneficial agreement for the entire region, and they've been very gracious in working with us. Of course, our partners, Frisco Independent School District, I think you just look around our community, you can see the result of that partnership. One of the top-rated school districts and great amenities for the students to reach all that they can reach, whether it's sports, arts, anything they choose to, they can do that here right at home. And you're seeing many of them as they graduate, return to our community. So again, I want to thank all the organizations, and as you are aware, the EDC is meeting right now, the Community Development Corporation, again, all made up of volunteers, of residents of Frisco, working hard to improve our community, have weighed in on this and evaluated it, and then our school board, again, as an independent school board, will look at this issue tonight. So on behalf of our City Council, on behalf of our residents, thank you for coming out. We will be providing additional information and details. And thanks for your dedication to our community. So
Move
with
to
that,
adjourn.
we'll look for a motion adjourned by
Second.
Will.
Second.
By Tim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 6-0. We're now adjourned at 5:55 p.m.